Oh.
Forget something for your project? We've got you. At HomeDepot.com, get fast, free delivery on millions of items for whatever you're working on, same day or next day. We bring what you need, and you bring it to life. Get fast, free delivery only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select in-stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability.
This old house is supported by TruGreen. A thriving lawn doesn't happen on its own. It requires the right combination of seasonal maintenance, nutrient support, and a plan tailored to your lawn's unique needs. TruGreen's lawn care experts understand exactly what your grass needs to thrive this time of year, from proper fertilization and watering to tailored treatment solutions designed to keep grass lush and pest-free all season long. Whether you're taking measures to keep weeds and pesky insects at bay or giving your turf a boost before the summer heat sets in, the pros at TruGreen will ensure it's done right. As America's #1 lawn care company, TruGreen has more than 200 branches nationwide, serving over 2.3 million customers locally. To learn more about TruGreen's range of lawn care services, visit TruGreen.com to create a customized treatment plan that will keep your lawn greener, healthier, and stronger this season.
From LAist and APM, American Public Media, it's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm Jen Largis. This summer, grow tomatoes worth bragging about wherever you call home.
You only need a 10-gallon can, and you can have that sitting on your back porch. Very simple.
Comedian Tom Papa's idea of paradise begins on the Jersey Shore, where 17 people, 1 bathroom, and a little yellow beach house added up to perfection.
When you have 17 people in the house, you need a lot of bathrooms, but we had 1. I remember just seeing the cup with all of those toothbrushes in it.
House therapy is back. 1 rotting pool shed, 1 married couple, and 1 very important question. Do you save it or tear it down? All of this, plus we're answering your home improvement questions at 877-864-7460. Coming up next. It's This Old House Radio Hour. Tomatoes are the holy grail of the home garden, but too often, what starts with ambition ends with a sad yellow plant. Dean Killingbeck, better known online as Farmer Dean, is a 3rd-generation farmer, here to tell you how to start your garden right now. And all you need is a bucket. So Dean, is it too late to start planting right now?
Absolutely not. Anytime the weather warms up, you can start planting. We're in the Midwest, so the cool weather crops you can plant right now because it's all due to the frost date and the temperature of the ground. Even though it's 70 degrees outside, if the ground isn't at least 50, 55 degrees, you stunt your plants. So I usually wait until Memorial Weekend, right around then. Now, if you're in the South, you've already been planting, right? The cold weather crops right now you can plant tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, melons, squash, all that stuff after the last frost date. And I always say 2 weeks after the last frost date.
Yeah, our spring has done a lot of that zigzagging back and forth, warm to cold, warm to cold. And is there any way to really tell the temperature of the soil other than by the frost date?
If you really want to do the temperature of soil by a soil thermometer, we actually stick it in. I go by feel. See this? That's a finger. That's the best thing that you got to test whether it's warm or whether it's cold or whether there's too much moisture or not enough moisture. You stick your finger all the way to the ground.
Good to know it. So how much space do you need to start a garden?
You only need a 10-gallon can, and you can have that sitting on your back porch. Very simple. Yeah. I have 4 things that I tell people to do when you're growing in a container, okay? One is start with really good soil. So you want compost, okay? The second is you can't overwater, but you can't underwater either at the same time. Stick your finger in the ground. If it's dry, you better be watering, okay? In containers, you have to water a little more often. Container sitting out there heats up faster, it evaporates quicker. That soil that you get from a garden center, it's been sterilized, so it doesn't have a lot of microorganisms in it. I'm going to tell you, go get baker's yeast. I use 2 tablespoons of baker's yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar to 1 gallon of water. And you use that about for the first month and a half, almost every week. Maybe a half a pint or a pint on there. And that helps all the microorganisms attached to the root, which makes the roots grow bigger, faster, better. The other thing that I use, Epsom salts, about a tablespoon around the outside. And I do that about every other week until everything starts blooming, and then I stop. You don't want to over Epsom salts because it builds up salt in the ground. But that'll help with the roots. The manganese helps the root growth, gets your plant started so you get this big, nice green plant.
So let's talk for a minute about companion plants, because I know they can be really beneficial.
I use flowers, marigolds, and I use lycium, and I use zinnias. And the reason why I do that is every one of them's got a different purpose. I have a lot of rabbits. I plant a lot of marigolds to keep the rabbits away, okay? I use the lycium and the zinnias to draw in the pollinators. So to me, it's more beneficial to put in pollinators than it is to deter bugs. If you don't have pollinators, you don't have a good crop. They'll increase your crop.
So what are some tips to know your plants are getting the right amount of water when you're watering, or the right amount of sunlight for that matter?
Especially with vegetables, if you don't have 8 hours of sunlight, you're not going to get a crop. As far as water goes, if it hasn't rained in 2 or 3 days, I'll go out there and just stick my finger as far down in the dirt as I can go. If I have moisture, I won't water. If I don't have moisture, I water. You want to water hard. You're better off watering really hard than every day or every other day. Your roots will follow the drought down, so you get more root growth. If you're watering every day, all the roots stay on the top. Not only that, by forcing the roots down to follow the water down, you get more nutrients. The other thing is, if it's dry and you're watering a lot, you have to give them nitrogen, because the water leaches out the nitrogen. Your plants will turn yellow. Just give it a little more fertilizer and a little more magnesium, and it greens right back up.
And is there anything that you can do if you do find a plant that seems to have some sort of a pest infestation, or to keep the pests away to begin with?
I use neem oil, which is an organic product for pesticides to kill like worms, especially if you're doing cabbage or broccoli or any kale, any of that stuff, you'll get worms. So I really watch it, and I go through there, and when I see it, I spray it. The other thing that I use is baking soda. And what it does is it changes the pH of the fungus, especially in tomatoes. You get that quite a bit. You'll get rust in beans. That's a fungus. Those are the two things, a pesticide and fungicide, that are organic for you.
And if I am a complete beginner, as I am, what do you think is the first thing that I should try growing?
It would be a cherry tomato, and it would be called sun gold, which are hard to come by. You just plant them about a 1/4 inch deep, water them in good, and put it on the windowsill. And what I do is take a plastic wrap, put over it with a rubber band, and that keeps the moisture in. And as soon as you see them poke out their head, take that off and then water, and you'll have your own plants.
All right, Dean, this is amazing advice. Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
That was Farmer Dean. For more gardening tips and courses, go to farmerdean.com. Right now, we're answering your home improvement and DIY questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Or you can leave us a voicemail anytime. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, this is Neil Halen, and I'm calling from Hardwick, Massachusetts.
Hi, Neil. What's your question today?
Well, I have a house that has rough sawn pine flooring.
Beautiful.
That after we had, it's gorgeous, that we had a leak in the shower that we didn't know about. And the way we found it was when black stains started to creep in from the floorboard into the ends of the floor and around the edges of things. So now I've got these dark stains in my floor. We found the hole in the shower, but now we have this dark stains on the floor, and I'd really love to be able to get rid of them.
Absolutely. Well, we've got Zach Detmore, a general contractor for This Old House, here on the line to help.
Cool.
Oh, you hate to see something so beautiful get stained.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a shame.
So the the stain, Neil, is dark brown and black?
Yeah, it's dark brown and black. The floor is not stained, so it's the natural color of the floor, and then it's this dark brownish black stuff that's creeping in where the water got to it.
And what's the finish that's on the board right now?
They were given a very light urethane coat. It was a clear coat.
Okay.
I mean, they're not shiny or anything. They just look like the wood.
Okay, so it's the type of thing that if we had to sand through the clear coat, you could put it back and it would look close-ish.
I have the can that they left when they built it.
Oh, awesome. What I think is happening is there is minerals and iron and maybe a dash of mold that is reacting with the tannins in the wood, and that's what's causing the darkness. There are wood bleaches that are typically like an acid base that will remove the iron and the mineral stains. It will lighten it, but it's probably not going to be that, pristine board ever.
Is the whole area dark, or is it just the rim of the stain?
It comes in maybe an inch around the edge. It's just the ends. So it looks like it was sucking this stuff out from underneath the trim. You ever tried to sand through one of these stains and it's just the stain it just keeps going. You keep sanding, it's still there, still there, still there.
Yeah.
It's not a surface stain, unfortunately, usually.
Yeah, part of the allure of the floor like this is that they're not, like super finished, right? So I wouldn't want to sand and sand and sand and sand. Yeah, well, I think even if you did, sometimes these stains, it's through the board. It's not just on the surface a lot of times, unfortunately. Okay. I can't just put a lemon on there?
Well, that's...
like you do on a cutting board?
That's sort of what the wood bleach or the acid will do. So I think you should definitely try that. And I'm hoping it'll be good enough that you get a good result. So basically you're going to take the board. I think you're going to do a surface sand, not to get deep, but to open up the pores of the wood so that this acid can sort of neutralize and remove the minerals in it. Mm-hmm. You let it dry completely, rinse and neutralize as needed. And then I would probably give the board a light sanding to see if you can sort of blend things. And then you will have the opportunity to try and, get a little artistic with maybe trying to lighten up individual areas that really stick out to you and then go back with the clear coat.
So when you say sand, are we talking like 80 grit here or to keep it rough or something finer?
I would go as high as it takes to remove. My guess is probably 120 grit to start would be where I would start. And you don't want to go too smooth when you're sanding because you're actually going to be sealing that grain as you work. So probably 120 feels about right to me. What you're really trying to do is blend the area between like the hard stain and the rest of the board. If you can blend that, then it'll probably all sort of go away. But I think you'll have luck with sanding it, putting the acid on, let it dissolve, rinse it, and then add the clear on top of that.
I'm perfectly okay with not perfect because all the boards don't look alike now. And when you say neutralize it, is this a kit? Do I get a box that has acid and neutralizer, or is that two different things I would buy?
Basically, you're just going to buy like a wood bleach. I think the active ingredient is oxalic acid, something with that in it. And then to neutralize it, I think all you're doing is just rinsing it. It might be water, it might be sanding it, but you're just making sure that acid isn't going to react with the clear coat you put on.
Okay.
But try the lemon too. Why not, right?
Yeah, I use it on my cutting board.
When life gives you stains, make lemonade on the floor.
No, that's not how that goes.
No? Oh.
That's the saying.
That's the saying. We always say that in Massachusetts.
We always say that.
Thank you very much. I will give this a try. And as I say, I'm not looking for perfect, just better.
Great. And if it doesn't work, lose my number.
We were never here.
I will blank that completely. Yes, exactly.
All right. We wish you luck with it.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Coming up, we answer more of your home improvement and DIY questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. It's This Old House Radio Hour. You're listening to This Old House Radio Hour. I'm Jen Largis. Right now we're tackling your home improvement and DIY questions. You can call us at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Or you can leave us a voicemail anytime. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, my name's Kathy Todd. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and I have a 100-year-old home, a Tudor style, that needs foundation repair.
Okay, Kathy, thanks for calling in today. What's your question?
How do I choose the right contractor? I had a structural engineer report. I've gotten bids from recommended contractors, through friends, actually through the person who did my structural engineer. We found out we had mutual friends, so that was nice. And he kind of said, well, these are companies that I know. But then when I get into the actual looking at contracts, I see where some contractors say they're going to use 5 4x13 beams. Another one's going to use 7x7 beams. Or one says they're going to use 4-inch steel restraints. And I don't know how to figure out what's best.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got our This Old House general contractor, Zach Detmore, here, as well as our mason, Mark McCullough. Zach, this is right in your wheelhouse of helping someone sort of navigate the challenges that come with getting several quotes and being a little bit confused about how to choose.
Sure, Kathy. And I think that's a really frustrating thing for a lot of homeowners, that there's no industry standard with regards to how us tradespeople sort of provide information to you, right? You could get 100 quotes, right, and 100 quotes would look different. And some of them have sort of boilerplate information in there because they don't know if they're going to get the job. So they don't want to go through exhaustive detail of sort of making it perfect, because it's more, they don't know whether the price they're giving you is so far outside of your expectation that maybe they won't get the job. A big thing is sort of how you feel. If when you're walking through the job, do you feel like this is a person who's trustworthy, who's listening and understanding the problem and digesting the information that the engineer has provided? Or is this someone who sort of has a sales playbook that they're running through to sort of close the job, and you're less of a human and more of a number on a balance sheet?
We always give the example of if you've ever walked into a doctor's office and you're trying to tell the doctor your symptoms and they're kind of rushing you along. They're not asking any follow-up questions. It feels like they're just trying to get you in and out the door. But when you meet a good doctor who sits there and takes the time to understand your symptoms and really talk through the possibilities of what might be going on, you can feel the difference of somebody who really cares about your situation and really wants to try to help.
Well, see, that's what I gave them all a report. I gave them the report from the engineer.
So, Kathy, what you've done is perfect. It's perfect. You've done everything correctly. You gave everybody the test and the answers to the test. You gave them what the engineer has said. You have vetted everyone perfectly. To Jen's point and to Zach's point, you get a feel for these guys and how they act during the walkthrough, and you can rely as much as possible on your judge of character. That goes a long way. 3 bids is always suggestible, and the problem with it sometimes is that you get 3 different opinions. But because you've done everything right and because you have already engaged a structural engineer, if you gave him back those 3 bids and let him or her decipher which one has represented their drawings and their narrative the best, that's what he's going to suggest to you, or she's going to suggest to you. And then the numbers might come into play, low bid, high bid, that type of thing. But he's going to, or she's going to tell you who to be the most comfortable with. You've already paid them for that service. So, and again, if they read the 3 bids, it's going to take them 5 minutes a bid to really decipher. But they're going to know right away who's representing their narrative in the best light. And that's who you're going to want to go with. You're on the 10-yard line. Just take the ball through the goalpost.
Beautifully said, Mark.
All right. Well, yeah, I wouldn't have thought about returning it to the engineer.
Yep, it'll take them 10 minutes.
Perfect.
All right, Kathy, thank you so much for the call.
All right.
Take care, Kathy. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Call us now to have your home improvement or DIY question answered. 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Or you can leave us a voicemail anytime. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, this is Annette Hansen calling from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Hi, Annette. What's your question today?
Well, I have a question about ice dams. I live in a 1954 south-facing mid-century modern house. It has a low-slope roof.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an attic. In about 2018, I had damage from ice dams. I took down the ceilings in the bedrooms, and I had spray foamed the underside. Across the hall from the bedrooms is a bathroom where there is a cavity above the ceiling where insulation was blown in, but there's still heat loss from that bathroom. Am I still in danger of getting ice dams? Because I'm still getting icicles, and I want to know if I have to stop getting up on the roof and raking it off.
All right. Great question. We've got Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, here to help us out. Zach, what causes ice dams?
So typically what causes ice dams is you have a section of the roof that is sort of outboard of the conditioned house.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the house is warm, it is warming the roof, and that causes the snow to melt. And so the snow turns to water and it runs down the roof until it hits that overhang. When it hits the overhang, everything's cold and the water freezes, creating an ice dam, sort of a basin. And then water just keeps traveling down there, hitting this dam. And then at a certain point, there is like a reservoir that is formed in that valley, and that causes the water to run uphill under your shingles and leak into the house. And that's what we call ice dams.
Zach, you get ice dams on your house?
Oh, yeah. We got some big ones. Luckily, my house is so inefficient that it pretty much melts all the snow off the roof in about 20 minutes. So I have that going for me and a nice high utility bill.
I don't know if those are good things, Zach.
But yeah, we had a lot of ice dams this year, especially with the Snowmageddon. Everyone's gutters were falling off the house.
Oh, geez.
It's going to be a good year in the gutter business over here. But yeah, this is a great question. One of the issues with spray foam is that because it's waterproof, you can have water leaking into your roof system from ice dams and not know about it for quite some time, because if it was cellulose, for example, the water will saturate through the cellulose and typically maybe you'll see some staining on the drywall, whereas the spray foam can kind of trap that moisture between the roof sheathing and the framing, and that'll rot out slowly. So it is a little bit scary because you don't get those telltale signs that something's gone wrong until it's gone very wrong.
Not really making us feel all warm and fuzzy here.
No, I'm not. But it's not all bad news.
Roof.
You did?
Yeah, I got a new roof installed in 2024, but it's a shingle roof. So, but I have full ice and water shield.
So ice and water shield in general is self-adhered. So what we're trying to solve with ice dams is water running uphill, right? Water runs backwards. So the ice and water shield, if installed correctly, should make that a non-issue for you. I wouldn't be worried about it if you're the type of person who has a low tolerance for house-related anxiety. I would find someone with a thermal imaging camera, and on a very cold day when it's hot in the house, I would point that thermal imaging camera at the soffit. And if I saw heat there, where the spray foam is and where the icicles are, then I would say, ooh, there's some melting that's happening. But if everything looks relatively cool, because the icicles could be forming because of the sun beating on the roof, it's not necessarily indicative of a house problem. I wouldn't be concerned about it.
And so what's the paper or coating or something that's under her shingles?
Sure. It's called Ice and Water Shield. The code that you have this in most applications within the first 3 feet of the edge of the roof. Sometimes it's 6 feet. It's basically a solid membrane that's sticky that allows the ice dam to sort of sit on top of that in the water. Even if it runs under the shingles, it'll just run out under on the ice and water shield. So think of it like a sticky membrane that's all monolithic.
Interesting. So then if the water does get under, it's not getting into the wood and causing the same kind of problems.
Exactly. So if her ice and water shield is doing its job, her shingles can be pretty compromised, and she has another roof under that. So that's why I'm not concerned about it, because there's 2 roofs on this house.
All right. Well, Annette, hopefully that's good information for you.
I hope so, because I don't really want to crawl up there and shovel it off anymore.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Annette, thanks for the call.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the answer.
Call us now to have your home improvement or DIY question answered. 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Or leave us a voicemail anytime. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, I'm Kim, and I am from Long Beach, California.
Hi, Kim. What's your question today?
So I have a 1920 Craftsman, and we bought it a couple years ago. And in the winter, I noticed that we were having a humidity issue. So we had a really rainy first winter, which is so unusual for Long Beach. I just noticed that like our blinds were getting condensation, and at night things would be like just feel swampy. So I actually bought like a humidity gauge, and yeah, we basically sit at between 60% humidity and 70% humidity, like in normal times. The only time it ever dips down to like below 60 is if we're like having Santa Ana winds. And then if it's raining outside, it is just like a swamp inside the house. I would love to figure out what is actually going on with this house.
Absolutely. Well, we've got Zach Detmore, general contractor, and Ross Truthui, a building engineer for the show, both here to help us out. Ross, what is a typical humidity range? Like, what is optimal?
Yeah, we'd love to see a house between 30% and 50%, year round. So 30% typically in a cold climate, wintertime, and then 55% in the summertime, when in the warmer time. So when she mentioned 60 to 70% indoor relative humidity, assuming that's at normal temperatures of, let's say, 70 to 75, that's too humid. That's definitely too humid.
Other than being uncomfortable, what are the dangers of being too low or too high?
Yeah, so on the high side, we run the risk of the dreaded M word. I hate to mention the word, but mold and mildew is definitely the concern there in wall cavities, attics, other spaces. So that's one of my main concerns with humidity.
Is there any concern with it being too low? Or is it just uncomfortable because you get those electric shocks every time you walk around in your socks?
Before you answer this, I just checked because I figured this would come up. I'm at 18%, Ross. What's happening to my body right now?
Yeah, right.
Let's make this about Zach.
Yeah, was there a caller on this call? But that's enough about me. Tell me what you think about me.
Well, 18% is a little low. Not to get too scientific, but viruses like to thrive in low humidity environments as well. Ugh. So it's not great for hospitals and for breathing and for transmission of viruses, et cetera. So yeah, you'd love to keep a building between 30 and really 55% relative humidity year round.
So is this house on a slab?
We're kind of raised. We have a crawl space under the house.
Is it a concrete floor of a crawl space and then a wood floor that you're walking on?
No, it's a dirt floor. Yeah, our crawl space is dirt.
And is it even more humid in there, in your opinion, than it is in the house? Or you don't spend much time down there?
I have tried. I definitely don't spend much time down there, but I have thrown my my humidity gauge under there to try to figure it out, and it seems pretty similar. I've only checked there when we were having like really low humidity outside, and that's the thing. Like inside the house is almost always higher than outside.
So hold on, but relative humidity can be misleading because it is the key where there's relative. It's relative to the temperature. And so as an example, you could have 70-degree indoor temperature and let's say you're 60, 70% moisture. that might be equivalent to, 90% relative humidity outside when the temperature is at 50 degrees.
Oh, wow.
So a better way to do it, a better way to think about it is dew point. And I hate to get scientific here, but dew point.
Take us there, Russ. We can't wait.
It's one number.
We're here to learn. We're ready.
Or absolute humidity. Yeah, absolute humidity or dew point. So if you knew the dew point inside your house and you knew the dew point outside your house, you could then compare, or in the crawl space.
How could you figure that out?
If she knows the temperature and the relative humidity, she can put that into a dew point calculator online. Just type in dew point calculator, search, put in your temperature, put in your relative humidity, and it will give you the dew point. And so you just plot you just track what's the crawl space dew point, what's the indoor dew point, what's the outdoor dew point. And then that way you can kind of figure out, is the moisture coming from outside, meaning the outdoor air is more humid, meaning it has a higher dew point, and it's coming in through cracks in the, in windows and doors and just making its way in through the house, through natural infiltration. Could it be that it's moisture coming from the crawl space propagating in through to the house through the flooring below, basically through the crawl space? Or could it be due to indoor moisture sources, which would be like showering and cooking, where we don't have proper ventilation, mechanical ventilation to get that moisture outside? And so usually in most houses that we see that have high humidity, it's a combination of all three. It's usually some of it's coming from the moisture, or basically from the crawl space. Some of it's coming from outdoor air, and some of it's coming from indoor moisture sources, the number one being showers. And so the first thing I do is once we track it, we can figure out where it's coming from. If let's say it's coming from all three, start with the bathroom exhaust fan and make sure that the bathroom exhaust fans are vented to outside and that they run after you run your shower. And normally you want to run it for another 15 to 20 minutes after you shower to make sure all that moisture gets outside. If you're boiling water, a pot of water, make sure that kitchen exhaust is running and hopefully vented outside. And that will lower the indoor humidity sources. That still won't solve the crawl space. It still won't solve your outdoor air.
Yeah. So what's the fix there?
So normally you would put down a vapor barrier. And so the most common way we do is a vapor barrier goes down and then you don't have to pour concrete, but typically you pour concrete on top of that. You don't have to, you could just leave the vapor barrier down there exposed. And you run that up the walls.
So it sounds like I need to do some measurements, some dew point measurements.
If you knew the dew point outside, crawl space, and inside your house, that would definitely help.
Okay. Oh, my husband's going to love this. He always makes fun of me about measuring the humidity inside the house.
Now you're going to measure more things.
Need a spreadsheet, and we're just going to up the level.
Well, Kim, we wish you luck with it. Thanks for the call.
Thank you so much.
If you have a question for us, leave us a voicemail on our hotline, 877-864-7460, and we can answer your question next time. Coming up, comedian Tom Papa shows you his old house.
We go down the hallway. It's filled with pictures of all of the grandkids at different stages of being at that house.
That's next on This Old House Radio Hour. It's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm Jen Largis. Coming up, house therapy is back. Caroline and Cameron's disagreement over a new shed has them at odds. Can they find common ground, or will this side quest tear them apart? But first, we go to the Jersey Shore, where comedian Tom Papa learned that family is really just one big table, too much pasta, and 17 people fighting over who gets the shower first.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Papa. I'm a comedian and a writer, and this is my old house. It's a 4-bedroom beach house. It's up on stilts. There's nothing flashy about it. The whole house is surrounded by these little white stones. And you pull into that driveway, just the sounds of your car hitting the stones, your shoulders just melt a little bit. You come up the steps to this first deck, and there's a screened-in porch that you enter. That's the only barrier between the outside and the in. We're the only house on the block that has a screened-in porch. We're so grateful that we can sit outside and not be attacked by mosquitoes. It is not lost on any of us. The simplicity of it is part of what makes it so joyful. Any little things that you would complain about at home, there's no fixing. There's just enjoying. When you first enter, the living room is all carpeted. The kitchen is all tile, which is great for sand because, at the end of every day, you're just sweeping up tons of sand. And that kind of wraps around to the stairs, and then that climbs up to the second floor. If you go down the hallway, it's filled with pictures of all of the grandkids at different stages of being at that house. There are 3 small bedrooms. Each room is kind of identical. They all have one large bed, a couple bunk beds. Each family would take a room. So whatever you got to do for your family in that room, that's your responsibility. Doesn't matter if you have more kids than there are beds, you have to figure it out. So kids would be making beds out of cushions. They'd be in the bunk beds. The parents would be in the main bed, maybe with another kid thrown in. It was just chaos. At any given time, if it was filled and we were all down there, especially as we had young families, let's say 17 people. When you have 17 people in the house, you need a lot of bathrooms, but we had one. It wasn't just the rooms that were filled, it was the hallways that were filled, it was blow-up mattresses in the living room. I remember just seeing the cup with all of those toothbrushes in it. Now we're heading towards dinner time. If you think about any beach community, when you drive down the main street, it's nothing but donut shops and ice cream shops and pizza places because people get ravenous. You just want to eat when you get down to the candy shops. For some reason, fudge becomes very important to you. In our house, we weren't going out to restaurants with 15 people. So it was always about making the meals. My mother would kind of spearhead that. We're an Italian-American family, so she would be making her sauce and talking about it for 3 days. About what we're going to serve with it. Will there be meatballs? Will there be sausage? And that would be the base of it, this big giant pot of sauce. But then my father, who really is not a cook at all, would suddenly have interest in the kitchen. He would come in with all of his crazy fish, all these shells, and have these big giant steam pots that he'd want to set up in the kitchen. He would go nuts with these giant lobster pots, and that was always a battle. While my mother's defending her space for her sauce, so she had to clear out, get everything done a day in advance and clear out so he could come in and start filling up these pots with water and steaming and just dropping shellfish like nobody's business. And it was insane. The whole family would be recruited into these meals. Little kids have to set the table. People have to get the glasses out. Someone's got to get the water. Someone's got to run the trash. There would be the seniority in a family like that. The big table would be filled up with all of the older kids, and whatever rank you were, maybe you got a seat. Then there'd be the extra table, and then kids, just sitting on lounge chairs with their plates. And it was pretty decadent. It was always fantastic. And the one thing that you had to be really crafty about is not to be there at the end when my mother would declare that it was time to clean up. The season went from Memorial Day till the end of September. It seemed like you were there for months. There was no TV. We didn't even have a phone. If we needed to call someone, we'd go to the laundromat on the corner, make the plan, all right, we'll see you next Thursday. And that was it. There was no more contact. And somehow they would show up on Thursday. Yeah, it was a different kind of freedom. Nobody could account for you. You had your bike. You could go to the ocean at night. Or you could go down and go to the arcade and go see all those kids. If you scrounged up some money, you could go get some ice cream, and you were just free, and you weren't even looking for trouble. It was very sweet. The joy was in the freedom of it, where you suddenly felt like you were your own person. The most magical thing about a beach house is that it keeps the family together because there's always a place to go. There's like this beautiful sea place with nostalgia now because everybody grew up there and everybody wants to go back and wants to see each other, and it becomes this familial, magical magnet. It's a place where everybody is there literally to shed their worries of the other places that they work and live. Everybody is there to consciously shed any kind of anxiety and just enjoy themselves and enjoy being with each other.
That was Tom Papa. You can see him live on the Grateful Bread Tour. For dates and tickets, visit tompapa.com. Every home project comes with decisions: what to do, how to do it, what it's going to cost, and whether to take it on yourself. And when two people don't see it the same way, it's really not just a project anymore. So we're here to help figure out the right move, settle the debate, and hopefully keep the peace at home.
In every home improvement project, there are two separate yet equally important forces: the work that needs to get done and the people who can't agree how to do it. When those forces collide, the result is conflict. These are their stories.
Caroline and Cameron, what brings you into house therapy today?
So we've got a pool shed out back that has a little bit of rot in the current siding of it, and it also has an outlet inside. So our question is about what our next steps are with it. So the walls on it and the roof on it are rotting. My take on it is that I think we should rip the walls off, rip the roof off, and then keep the frame, rebuild around it, and kind of figure it out as we go. Mm-hmm. And Cam has a little bit of a different idea.
I think we should treat ourselves and get a brand new shed pre-made.
Just rip the whole thing down.
Yeah, get a little pre-made, make it all fancy. That way we can, reduce the labor we'll be doing.
So how long have you guys been thinking about this?
So we've probably been thinking about it since we first moved in a few months ago. So it's been a few months of back and forth with it.
So Cam, what makes you want to take it all the way down and replace it? You think you're going to have a better result at the end?
Yeah, I think it's just easier, especially with seeing rotted wood. Kind of get a new structure in there, and maybe it might be able to last a little longer too. That's kind of my take on it.
And Caroline, do you feel is your motive for wanting to sort of piecemeal it together? You think it would be easier or save money? What do you think?
So we have an outlet inside of it, actually. So that's sort of what made me think that it might be easier to keep the current structure, keep the frame as is, since neither of us are electricians. So things might get a little bit complicated with trying to move around the outlet and the power lines.
Mm-hmm. We've got Zach Detmore here with us as well, general contractor for the show. Zach, what do you want to do, Zach?
What do I want to do?
Let's get Zach's opinion. What would you like?
I feel like in every relationship, there's one person who is sort of responsible and, keeps you on the straight and narrow. And then there's the other person that's maybe a little ADHD and is just like, but have you thought about, but maybe we should. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? What were you saying? So which one of you is which in this relationship, if either of you?
Unfortunately, I think both of us are a little bit ADHD, but probably more so me.
You ever see this when it comes to kids? These memes online where it says, "I've got one kid that can build a parachute in 5 minutes, and I've got another that wants to test it."
Exactly.
What are we using this shed for? Do we know? What's the end goal here?
Oh, so the shed is close to the pool. So that's like sort of why we need the outlet. It's like a pool shed. So we run like the pool equipment through it and then store everything for the patio out there.
It doesn't need to be a fancy shed, but it does need to be functional, watertight.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how good you have to be at your building skills here.
Yeah.
That was our question too.
Yeah, I think as soon as you get into rot repair, there's no manual that comes with that, right? Whereas with the new shed, it'll probably come with a manual that tells you pretty much what to do and what not to do. So I think it, depends on, would you rather test the parachute or would you rather not test the parachute? Because one is definitely... sort of what I like to do in these situations is follow it to its worst case scenario. So what is the worst case scenario of option A? What is the worst case scenario of option B? And are you willing to accept the terms of the worst case? If you are, then select that option. If you're willing to accept them on both fronts, then I don't know what to do in that case. Hopefully there's a clear winner here.
Well, I think I see Cam's point of view that you can visualize and see exactly what the outcome will be. You know that all the pieces are going to be included in that shed if you put it together yourself.
Yeah. I think that's accurate. And obviously, we don't have the tools, so come question of hiring contractors, whatnot. So that's correct in what you're saying in my viewpoint.
I think I've made up my mind, Jen. Have you made up your mind what the right choice is?
I think I have. I want to give Caroline one more chance here, though. Caroline.
Okay.
What dreams are we missing by going with a pre-made shed?
I think as long as there could potentially still be the outlet included in it, pre-made would be okay with me.
Okay. Zach, what are you thinking?
So what I'm hearing from Cam is, all right, I've looked through the worst case scenario here, which is we wake up on a Saturday morning, have our coffee, rush out to the shed, start ripping out the rod apart, and then we've got it apart, and we think, okay, now we need to buy lumber, we need to buy tools. How many tools? How much lumber? How are we moving this lumber? And the project's a little bit more open-ended in the conceptual phase, because you don't really know how many tools you need, when you uncover it, how long it's going to take. Whereas knocking it down, it's a little easier to conceptualize. Well, I think we could remove this whole thing and get it in a dumpster in a day. And I think we could assemble this new shed or pay someone to assemble this shed in another day. So we've got, that scope of work, and we know probably we need to buy a sledgehammer. Whereas I think Caroline's like, let's see what happens, So we end up buying a roofing nailer, then we need a hose, then we need a compressor, or we're going to hand drive this whole roof. What's a drip edge do? So to address the outlet concern, I don't know if it's in a conduit or how difficult that is, but it would be, my guess, less than $600 to have an electrician come out and take care of that for you. Or if you decide to take care of it yourself, it's not super high stakes electrical work, and it's a good place to do it in. If you create a fire, you've created a fire in your shed, not your house. What a great place to learn, right?
Out there by the pool where there's plenty of water.
By the pool, just jump in the pool if there's a fire, right?
It's far enough away from the house where it'd be okay.
Yeah. If I were advising you guys, I would go with Cameron's suggestion. It's safer. You will get it done. You're less likely to have civil discourse involved. If it were me, as the person who is the ADHD, let's have fun, let's find out type of person in the relationship, I'd be fixing that rot. That's what got me into this whole construction situation, is taking on these harebrained schemes. So I'm with you, Caroline, 100%.
Look how many tools you own now.
I know.
I don't think they want to
I was supposed to be an engineer.
Yeah, I don't think they're headed down your path. I think they just want a nice shed that doesn't take 6 months.
No, Caroline wants to throw down. She wants to make it happen.
Caroline, the cool piece too is that if you do go the pre-made route, like Zach said, you're going to pay an electrician to hook up that electrical maybe for you, which is fine. But I think you're going to be able to customize it however you want to, especially if you go to either design it yourself or choose one that then you paint and you can make it look how you want by dressing it up with, either planters or flower boxes. Like, you can make it look really beautiful without having to spend as much time on the labor part of it.
Yep. Okay. That is super helpful. And I think I've been persuaded to the pre-made shed route.
Zach, we've done our job.
We've done it.
This
is the first successful call we've ever had.
This is a win for Cam. I'm sure he really appreciates it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys end up with a beautiful shed and a beautiful marriage after not having to go through trying to rebuild it together.
Yeah. And all it costs you is a super low copay.
Well, good luck, guys. I'm glad we could help. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Do you have a project dispute? Email them to housetherapy@thisoldhouse.com. And now it's time for one last thing. My favorite tool.
Hey, Jen, it's Ross Thui. I'm the building engineer for the show. One of my favorite tools is a digital manometer. It's a pressure gauge that allows you to measure the difference in pressure between two different areas. And so one of the common uses for this is if the homeowner says, I have a hot spot and I got cold spots. And why is that? One of the first things that we're doing is using that digital manometer to measure the pressure from those hot rooms back to the main body of the house. If the weak point's in the ductwork, we then can say we need to address the ductwork. If the weak point's in the room, like a room pressure, we have to get a return air path. And by knowing the pressure changes in these rooms, we can start to formulate solutions into how to solve those hot spots and those cold spots.
We'll see you next week on This Old House Radio Hour. Our show is distributed by and co-produced by LAist Studios and APM, American Public Media. This Old House Radio Hour was created and produced by Ember 20. Listen to new episodes of the podcast every Tuesday on your app of choice. You can follow This Old House on all the socials at This Old House, all one word. We'll see you next week.
Everybody has a hot take on the economy. And whether you're curious about inflation, trade wars, or the markets, what you need is reporting you can trust. Hi, I'm Kai Rizdal, the host of Marketplace. Our award-winning reporters talk to everybody from CEOs to farmers to help you understand how the economy takes shape in the real world. You'll be smarter every time you listen. And these days, that's priceless. Listen to Marketplace on your favorite podcast app.